Hello, everybody. It is episode 91, Two Chaps, Many Cultures. Hey, isn't it more fun when learning is fun? That's what we think anyway. So we've got someone today who's going to talk about the things that she's been working on, making learning fun and making learning stick. Stick around. Happy days, happy days. I've gone yellow.
Happy Monday. Well, I get your orange because orange in this country. I don't know.
No, there you go.
Here it's
I'm
gone
back.
now. All right, okay.
I'm back. I went a bit jaundiced there for a minute.
Well, maybe that's a game. That's a game we can play, right?
That's right. Maybe it is. Because we like games. We like to play games. We like to have fun when we're learning. Don't you?
I love to have fun when I'm learning, because when it's fun, I don't even recognize that the learning is happening. It's not that my mind has to, I need to focus and now important information is coming to my brain and I need to absorb it. But when it's in a more fun way, my conscious mind is allowing all that to come in, and that's awesome.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's hear from somebody who has been developing a fun little tool that she's developed all on her own. And
wow.
I'm just going to bring us straight in. Maria Todosiychuk.
Hi.
Hello, Maria.
Hello. I'm going to find myself.
That's all right. There you are. You're good.
How are you?
I need to find myself too. How are you, Maria? You're coming to us from where tonight?
I'm coming from Russia, and it seems like I have an unstable connection. So I'm trying to hear everything very well, but I'm not sure if I can hear you all the words that you pronounce. Let's try. Maybe you can speak slow there to make sure I don't miss any word. But as soon as it's fine now, I come from. Thank you for inviting to your great show. Really great, and I like the intro. Thank you very much.
Well, no problem. Yeah. Well, we've in this field, we often come across, we're on many calls nowadays, obviously, and we're always looking for new tools to use with our clients, with the people that we're teaching, and even tools that we like to engage with ourselves when we're learning. And so I guess from our point of view, we've seen Maria around. She's presented at a couple of conferences that we've been attended. And I think everybody has been really engaged and really fascinated with the great things that you've been able to put together, Maria. So I guess tell us in kind of short, as an introduction, what made you start to develop some of these tools for the people you were teaching and our other colleagues in this field?
Well, the whole idea of developing intercultural games came to me when I started doing intercultural training more than 10 years ago, and I found out that it's not enough just to deliver some valuable content. So at the very, very beginning, my task was to gather all nice and relevant and really interesting content together in a nice program. It was not enough, finally. So because when you talk to people, when you tell them things that are new to them, they kind of understand it. But when it comes to really practicing it, to really producing, for example, a new communication style, which is different from yours, from the one you got used to, it becomes really difficult. And I decided to develop some tools, some methods and games that would go to practice things that are unusual to someone. So this is just one example of what kind of games I do. Some of the games are for training new skills. Some of the games are for introducing the whole intercultural science in a short way. And the shortest the shortest way I found to tell about intercultural communications for someone who is hesitant about whether they need to take this course or not is, for example, an intercultural minefield game where players literally go across a minefield and they may step on cultural mine to discover a case or a question they need to answer, solve, and if they succeed, they kind of deactivate this mine, or if they fail, they are blown up by cultural mine, and during the game they can earn money, lose money, they can run into debt, and these by the end of the game they have some money left at hand, and they may feel this correlation between intercultural awareness and actual bottom line of your business. So this is an easy way to introduce how important intercultural is for those who do business internationally. And one of the recent games, the last one, is devoted to diversity and inclusion, another topic that is widely covered now by interculturalists and diversity and inclusion professionals. And this one unites people. It allows to build stronger connections, to get to know people really better than they think they do, even between people who know each other very well.
I like the idea of including money or some kind of monetary value in the game, because it ties this cultural intelligence piece to the business relevance. So if you don't have it, you stand to lose money. You stand to lose out in your business. You're not making the deals that you want to make. You're global for a reason. You want to advance your mission, your passion for your product, the service, the widget, whatever it is you're marketing, what you're selling to the global market. You're going global. And if you don't do it right, if you don't mind culture, the culture mind will blow up your gains. I love that idea, Maria. This is, I want to talk to you more about this offline later.
Another point is losing time when you are trying to do things without being aware about a potential mistake. You will lose time while figuring out what would be the right way to do things, or while waiting for an answer from the company that would respond to you because you did something wrong. Or there are many cases when business people just lose time in the wrong things.
Right.
Yeah, that's important because I mean, depending on what culture you go to, preparation is huge. Preparation is everything, and part of preparation is learning. So wouldn't you say this is great? This teaches how maybe lack of preparation and lack of information, lack of cultural awareness can extend those times, because we talk about failures in international business, whether it be an expat experience or doing business across cultures. And one of the many things that people in their home culture are obviously very much driven by being able to achieve goals along the way. You know, setting putting a flag in the ground and saying, once I achieve that, I can achieve the next thing. But of course, that great plan may go out the window when you realize it might be taking extra time to build relationships, but develop networks and things like that. So is this kind of what you're trying to at least impact the learners with, Maria?
I'm trying to put the most important ideas in students or business students' heads about intercultural science, because in this time when there is no time for almost anything, so many things to do, and you have not so much time to learn new things. So my task is to deliver the most essential things, like being culturally prepared, but also it's not just about learning something about culture. It's also about becoming more agile and be ready to adapt to a person who maybe not corresponding to the cultural profile at all. So it's about flexibility. It's about thinking global, planning local, acting person. That's what I learned recently.
Mm. And it's easier to make those mistakes, or I don't want to say mistake, but it's easier to learn with trial and error if it's in a fun way, if there's a game attached to it. So whenever we make maybe a mistake during the game, it doesn't hurt us directly. It's something that we can explore together, and yet it becomes memorable. I like this concept a lot, Maria.
And it is persuasive, in fact, because when you're distant to this topic, and one may think that for example, I had some students saying that I can do without intercultural science as long as I'm respectful to someone. I think it'll be fine, but in fact, respect is shown in different ways, and because it's also an intercultural issue, just like us. And so games is a fun way, is a very persuasive way to try to see things differently. For example, I use a cultural game which is designed to simulate intercultural negotiations. Two different cultures to negotiate a deal, and they need to one party has to conclude a contract, and the other party has a goal of getting to know the partner better and to find out whether I can trust them. So the goal, friend, this is what usually happens when East and West meet in for negotiation. So after playing this game and without having a chance to come to agreement and to conclude this contract, they have a feeling on how it really feels to communicate with someone with different values and different ways of business and of negotiating. So if they play this role well, they will have a lot of discomfort by these cultural differences. And so in this way, the game becomes persuasive because but it's better, of course, to feel it in a training setting, in a game, before you go out to meet the real partner and to screw everything up.
Right. Tell me, Maria, and as you know, and you've demonstrated many times on the when I've seen you demonstrate this, is that there are some cultures that are probably a little bit more comfortable in putting themselves out there in this kind of competitive realm when you're playing games and things like that. Do you feel there's a need for preparing, especially if you've got a multicultural audience, for this type of learning approach? Do you find there's an important aspect to kind of getting people prepared, or having you as the facilitator understand and be cognizant of the cultural background of the participants as well? Yeah.
Do you mean if the games need some attention to some cultural context of the students?
Say if a game, like, we're talking about quite a competitive, games can kind of bring up the sense of competitiveness in the human mind. So people are competing against each other, which might, I'm just thinking out loud. Do you find that maybe some cultures are more happy with the competitive nature of the game, and some not? And how might that affect? I'm just wondering how we would get through that as facilitators.
Right. Sounds like competitiveness is something which is different in different cultures, but not all of the games are competitive, and not all of my games are competitive. It is the only intercultural minefield which can be a little bit competitive. As you earn money, you lose money, and there is a winner at the end. But all the rest are not competitive. They are an engaging way to share and to practice and to learn, and the outcome is just the learning outcome, the possibility to feel something, to experience something without actually losing face because you lost. There is no loser in these games. These games are just for experiencing something. And but since you mentioned the possible need for adaptation, of course some aspects should be considered and possibly adapted. Like, for example, the culture shock game, when I played it in an intercultural audience in Belgium, had a workshop with around 50 participants from all over the world. And a Chinese participant asked me afterwards, after we debriefed, Maria, what do you think we should do now after experiencing this discomfort? Do you think we should stay in this state of mind after it? And it was a good point, because really some cultures are not comfortable with discomfort, with this inner uneasiness after these emotions that have just been really realistic in this game. It's a real simulation with real cultural differences, and as I said before, if they play it well, the discomfort is real. And that was a good point, which made me think that I need to add some well, this is not about changing the game, because the idea is experiences this kind of discomfort as the outcome of the wrong kind of unprepared negotiation. But in order to avoid discomfort for players, especially from cultures where discomfort is a very sensitive issue, I added a component to debriefing as to let players get rid of the role, like physically and psychologically, to separate oneself from this role, and to see this game as just an experience they had. And so you were a culture alpha representative in this game, but you stopped it, and now you are back the one who you are. And I use special techniques for that, for the mental
So there's
change.
a part where you ask the participants to associate with a situation where they become part of the scenario, but then also disassociate from it afterwards to get back out of it. Okay.
Right.
Brett told me, and I haven't seen this yet, but I'm super excited to learn more about this. Brett told me you have one game that includes some kind of spaceship. Want to know more about this.
Yeah, that's the game I mentioned before, Diversity Space Meeting, which I actually started developing when lockdown started, and a lot of offline activities that were planned before the lockdown. So I actually was left without any work to do, and I had to invent some work for myself during this period. It was obvious that it would be a few months. So I had 3 goals for myself, and one of them was to create a new game. So the Diversity Space Meeting was one of it, and I successfully completed it because I already run it, and I have some more sessions scheduled this year. So this game is right. It's in a cosmic setting, in space setting, because I decided to put players in a position of aliens. So each player in this game becomes alien, and because actually we are human beings, and it's impossible to know everything about people actually, and even about your close friends and your spouses, etc. So becoming an alien from fictitious planet allows to open up with the usage via the questions that are incorporated in this game. I tried to use really opening up questions to let participants describe their cultural background, their values, their beliefs, their dislikes or anything in the way that would be safe for them, and actually without speaking about it directly. They're just answering the question in which their values are revealed. For example, I will ask you a question, Brett and Christian. What if you had to live another life in a new culture? What would you choose? Which culture would you choose to live another life? And why? Let's play a little bit.
That's interesting. I think it'd be interesting to do something that's really different, like an African culture, like somewhere like Nigeria or Kenya or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you explain why you do this destination?
Oh, I just think the richness of history. I mean, I come from a culture, from a European colonization standpoint anyway, is quite young. So I think from a historical point of view, and from a just the bedrock of human civilization point of view, I'd like to explore that kind of culture.
What about you, Christian?
For me, I have to think about this, but what stands out to me is what the culture that I would like to live in again would be Native American. I have this strong interest in pre-European contact cultures in the Americas, and it doesn't have to be North America. It could also be South America. It could be Cherokee, could be Navajo, but could also be Inca or Mayas. The American cultures before European contact, those are cultures that I would be very interested in to be part of it, because to me it appears to be much more in tune with the creation that we inhabit, with the world. It's more holistic. It's more, at least how I imagine it to be. It's more in touch with the elements. It's more in our hearts and in our bodies than in our minds.
Okay, so Brett, what have you just learned about Christian based on what he said?
You're a deep dude, man. That's deep. I want to. No, I think that's great. That's a very worthwhile thought process to get in touch with what really were the origins of where we come from. Yes.
Christian, what have you learned about Brett based on his reasons?
I learned about Brett, or it confirmed what I know about Brett, because he's drawn to deeply rooted cultural experiences that extend longer into the past than that of Australia, which Australia and Canada and the US have this in common, that the dominant culture doesn't have a long history. And there's this, to many people in Australia, there seems to be this desire to be part of something that has very deep roots and that are widely faceted. And I've known this about Brett, but when he said it about African cultures, it confirmed for me that this is something that is of high interest for him.
Okay, you can have a chance to live a third in Russia. It also has a long history.
Absolutely.
So we need to pick a third one? Is that the task?
Oh, no, it was just, came to my mind.
Yeah,
out of joke.
No, it's one. It's like, that's why I always like to go to Poland, because right there, I mean, at least 1,000 years of that kind of history. You can go and visit buildings. So Russia would be the same kind of thing, right? There's a longer history in that region of the world, for sure. Yeah. So Maria, in terms of, you said you've got some demonstrations coming up, some workshops coming up. Perhaps we can put them in.
Yeah, sure.
I
hope you have already registered for some of them.
I've already registered. I'm going to be there on Friday. I've got and for whatever the channels that these will post to, we've got links to the registrations where you can go to the Eventbrite page. It's free, right? You can just show up and get the demonstration. It looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I've been in and out of a bunch of your workshops, and I haven't really had the chance to really dig deep into them. And as somebody who likes games and things like this, when it comes to learning, I really can't wait to. I've set aside the time, Maria, on Friday. I would definitely be there.
Thanks. Looking forward.
Absolutely. You've gone. Do we still have you?
I think she went silent for a second because the AirPod has lost power, I guess.
Yeah, probably lost power.
has
I know.
happened to me before. Here, take
Yeah.
mine for a second. Oh man.
Well, Maria, if you can still hear us, nod your head. Oh yeah,
I think she can still hear us.
If
Well,
you can still hear it, well, that's great. Well, we'll say goodbye, Maria. I'll see you on Friday anyway. Thank you very much for being a guest on Two Chaps, Many Cultures, this Monday edition, episode 91, getting close to 100, might we say. And thank you very much.
Let's say thank you in the proper way. I hope I will do it right, but I was taught by some native speakers, so I say "Spasiba, Maria."
Spasiba.
See you all tomorrow, guys.
All righty, bye all.